My life was incomplete because I was living in the world. I was taught that if I acquired the things of the world, a good career, money, a good relationship, I would have it all. I would do well, I would acquire things, I would make some gains, but then something would always happen to take it away or to make it more difficult. And so I never really established myself in business. I did well, but then it would be taken away. Then I'd have to do it again. So it became kind of like a gerbil wheel that I felt like I was on, always running and running and running, but not really getting anywhere. I think the most painful moment in my life was when I was going through my divorce and when I realized that my marriage had failed, because I never really envisioned myself being a single dad or being divorced. I came to the church about 7.5 years ago. My now wife brought me to the church, and I learned about tithe, and I learned about how to put God first, and I learned that it takes sacrifice to get God's attention. So when the campaign came along, it was an opportunity for me to say, all right, I was in some tough situation financially in my business, and I was really at a point where I was ready to surrender anyway. My life had gotten to a point where it just was not the way I wanted it. And the campaign came along and I said, okay, God, I give up. I surrender. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make a very large financial sacrifice at a time when I didn't have the money. But it was my symbolic way of saying to God, I know you'll see this as my true surrender, as me putting my everything on the altar. And actually, I asked God, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want me to do. And he said, I want you to give everything that you have. I want you to give an amount of money that will take something from that's already committed to my business and put it on the altar. And it's funny because it was to me, it was like a stress at the time. How am I going to do that? And I didn't question it. I said, I'm going to do it. It was not only hard for me to do that, in a certain sense, I thought, you are crazy. What are you doing? There was a part of me, a voice talking to me and saying, are you crazy? And there was another part of me saying, trust it, do it. God has done so many things in my life since that day. Well, first of all, he removed the stresses that I used to feel, the anxiety, the sadness, the ups and downs of life, if you will. He removed it, he put peace inside of me. I felt, even though I was putting myself in a certain sort of financial situation, I really felt at peace. And it was funny because sometimes I had a lot of money and I didn't feel at peace, but when I was sacrificing, I got peace, number one. Number two, my marriage has become so much stronger. Because not only did I let go of the money and the financial, sacrifice I made, I also let go of my old ways. I let go of being angry and trying to do things my own way and really not being a very nice person from time to time. People found it hard to deal with me, so including my wife. So I gave up my old ways, my old self, and it strengthened my marriage. It made it really beautiful. And my kids look at me differently. And the people in my business look at me differently. And they, as a matter of fact, when I first made this sacrifice, people would be talking. I could hear them talking behind my back, actually, and saying, what happened to Paul? What happened to this guy? He changed, And so through that, many blessings have come. But my business is thriving. I have a group of aesthetic skincare clinics called SkinMD, and we had 4 clinics which were struggling. Last year our business grew by 60%. This year it's up 30%, and we're now opening 2 new clinics. So we're going to have 6 by the end of the year, and we have plans to expand beyond that. So financially speaking, I have more money than I've ever had. My tithe now is more than I used to make, and I used to do pretty well as a doctor. So, there have been so many blessings, it's hard to count. I think my life now in every way glorifies God. And not only did I gain all of the material blessings that I've ever wanted, really, and it continues to grow because I live now from sacrifice to sacrifice. That was the first one. But each time there's a campaign, each time there's a chance for me to show God that he's the number one in my life, I show him. more and more and more. And the more I show him, the more blessings I get. But I don't do it now to get more blessings. I do it now to glorify God, to show God, I'm here for you. I'm truly your servant. Use me how you want to use me. My advice for people is to take a chance. When you really think about it, you have nothing to lose. You think you have something to lose at first because we kind of cling to our life the way it is. We cling to whatever little things we have. But God has a much bigger vision for you. And unless you truly surrender and sacrifice and let it go, you'll never know what it is. You'll never know. And that would be the saddest thing. I think if I never did it, if I never made that leap of faith, so to speak, I tell you, my life would be just where it was years ago and probably worse. And so I would tell people, test God, give it a shot. You will not be disappointed. God will not forsake you. He didn't forsake me. He won't forsake you.